This October on Patreon, it's Stern vs. Bobert, Buckley vs. Starfield, and Buckley vs. Buckley's old Amanda Bynes video. Plus over 190 videos in the back catalog. Support the habit at patreon.com/doseofbuckley. Oh, Canada. When Canada makes international news, it's always not good. In my time doing this channel, what have we had? A guy who cut a man's head off on a Greyhound and ate some of it. We had a dude murder his lover and then mail his body parts to the government. I guess our taxes really are an arm and a leg, huh? Yuck, yuck, yuck. Yeah, man died, whatever. More recently, the story of the handicapped Paralympics military veteran who wanted a chairlift. And someone at our version of the VA office said, I could get you some info on medically assisted suicide instead. And so, as a Canadian, I thought I should finally talk about this whole thing where, our parliament gave a standing ovation to a Nazi. Whoops! Zig fail, am I right? So, here's the story because I know most of you haven't actually heard it. You've seen some tweets and went, well, now I know everything. Ukraine President Zelenskyy was in town. For a guy in the middle of fighting a war, he seems to be sending his out-of-office emails pretty often. He's there to address Parliament. And I thought panhandlers weren't allowed in Parliament, huh? So, Speaker of the House Anthony Rota. He gets wind of this and thinks, holy shit, I know a guy. So he brings in this fella, Yaroslav Hunka, a war veteran who happens to be one of his constituents. That means he's a voter in his riding or district. Oh, I heard about this guy down at the Timmy's, eh? Bob was telling me about this old Ukrainian who lives down the street who fought Russians. He's 98 years old. I should bring him in to work for show and tell, eh? Like he really thought he was doing something here. Here's a clip from Anthony's speech.
We have here in the chamber today Ukrainian Canadian world veteran from the Second World War who fought the Ukrainian independence against the Russians and continues to support the troops today, even at his age of 98. His name is Yaroslav Hunka. And I was going to say he's in the gallery, but I think you beat me to that. But I'm very proud to say that he is from North Bay and from my riding of Nipissing-Temiskaming. He's a Ukrainian hero, a Canadian hero, and we thank him for all his service. Thank you.
So, everyone in Parliament gives this guy a standing O. The Liberals, the Conservatives, the Bloc Québécois, the two Green Party members, everyone gets on their feet to applaud. You'll notice in that clip, there wasn't a lot of details about the guy, but history buffs thought something was off from what little was shared. The first clue was a guy who fought in World War II against the Soviets. I know we've spent the last 60 years in film telling you the Soviet Union was bad, but they were an instrumental ally in World War II. It's believed that if Hitler had stayed out of Russia, he probably could have won the war. But his eyes were bigger than his stomach, figuratively and literally. They actually measured them later in the bunker after they found them across the floor from each other. So, someone looks into this dude. I don't know how. I guarantee there was no Wikipedia page for Yaroslav Hunka, some old man who lived in North Bay, Ontario. But someone finds out he was a member of the 1st Ukrainian Division. This is the nice name given to the SS 14th Waffen Division, a Nazi unit. An SS Nazi unit. They were like the most Naziest of Nazi units. A voluntary unit at that. Which, makes it sound like this Ukrainian guy was like, Nazis? More like, yes please. Liberals, just so you know, you should love the World War II Soviet military. They were maybe one of the wokest militaries of all time. They allowed women to serve. Sorta. Don't look any deeper into that. But either way, the Night Witches were an all-female group of pilots who would shut their engines off on approach to German bombing targets, effectively running stealth missions in the world's shittiest planes. And once they dropped their payload, they'd crank them back up in mid-air and evade incoming flak. They also had over 2,000 female snipers serving, one of which, and I'm gonna butcher this, Lyudmila Pavlichenko, racked up 309 confirmed kills and is one of World War II's deadliest snipers, man or woman. They honored her with a stamp and the Hero of the Soviet Union medal. These women make Rosie the Riveter look like some fucking TikTok trad wife. Anyway, within a day, like within hours, it's making international headlines. Canadian Parliament accidentally honors Nazi, with Zelenskyy and Trudeau applauding. Then on the Sunday, one day before Yom Kippur, by the way, amazing timing for this to happen, Anthony Rota apologizes and says, "It was all me. I invited the guy. No one else knew. I didn't know about the Nazi stuff. My bad on this one, okay?" And then, the day after that, he resigns his position as Speaker of the House. So, Canada's embarrassed on the world stage, as they should be. The national identity of Canada is often, "We're not those racist yokels below us, eh?" And then you hear a story about a guy throwing a banana at a black hockey player, or, and this one's arguably much worse, that the last residential schools for natives closed in 1996. Not 1966, 1996. Oh, and that there may or may not have been some mass graves underneath them, we're not sure. So, whenever we have to wipe that smug-ass look off our maple syrup-smeared faces, the rest of the world kinda delights in it a little. And they should. This should be an opportunity for the left and right to come together to go, "Ha, look at what these stupid beaver fuckers did." Or, I guess we can use it to spew more conspiracies. You guys know how much I love them. Cat Turd, the terminally online right-wing spreader of bullshit, says, "If you want to know how evil the mainstream media is, they lied and gave cover for Justin Trudeau, Zelenskyy, and the entire Canadian Parliament for cheering an actual Nazi. There's nothing they won't do to protect the New World Order against the citizens they're supposed to protect. These sick people aren't journalists. They're propagandists for the rich and powerful elites." The belief is that Trudeau and Zelenskyy knew this old man from bumfuck Northern Canada and invited him, instead of the reality, which is simply that a guy fucked up trying to look cool. "Look, guys, I brought an old Ukrainian war hero to honor Zelenskyy. I did good, right? I get a treat from Trudy?"
And not a peep from any of our mainstream media about Canada wheeling out a Nazi war criminal.
CBC, the news organization that Musk once labeled state-run media, wrote 3 articles within a 24-hour period that were all negative toward the government. A quick Google search would show you every mainstream media outlet is running stories about this.
The mainstream media will repeat the lie that the Nazi was not vetted. They expect us to believe nobody even Googled his name.
What was there to Google? Until this happened, he was an old man who lived in North Bay, Ontario. A wiki page was created for him after the incident. No one knew who this guy was. If they had Googled Yaroslav Hunka the day before, they'd have found an article from 2022 that included a photo of him at a rally in Sudbury that had no mention of his military past, only that he was born in Ukraine. Now, does the government have better vetting processes? Absolutely, and they should have used them. But no one, immediately upon watching this, knew Yaroslav Hunka? Oh, I know that old Nazi. He was a low-ranking soldier of no notoriety who got the fuck out of Dodge when he found out he was on the wrong side of history. His name was not in any history books. There's no conspiracy here. Rota is just a fucking idiot who didn't have any red flags tripped when he heard, wait, he fought the Russians in World War II? And the rest of Parliament is just a bunch of dumbasses who went, well, people are standing to applaud, I better as well so I don't look like a jerk. You know the saddest thing about this, though, is Rob Schneider said he's canceling his upcoming trip to Canada. Well, now we fucked up. Deuce Bigelow isn't coming here? Well, this will shatter the economy of whatever small-town Comic-Con had scraped together the $800 appearance fee to get the co-star of 1995's Judge Dredd to show up. Anyway, perhaps you'll be happy to know that the person getting the worst of it is probably Yaroslav Hunka. As of writing this, the Polish government, who, still not thrilled with how they were treated by the Nazis 80 years ago, have reportedly begun extradition proceedings. Man, one day you're an old man enjoying a Harvey's hamburger and a coffee crisp. The next, you're getting cheered on by Parliament. The day after that, they're reopening the Nuremberg trials just for you. I bet he did not see that coming. That's right, an ancient joke for an ancient war criminal.